So one of the things that's really important in alt space, especially when we're going to be throwing events, is the ability to terraform. Now, terraform sounds like a really fancy word, but basically it means you can modify things in the environment. Terra, which means, planet or land, and form is your ability to change it. So that's where that comes from. And when you have terraforming abilities, you're going to have this little button down here. Now, if someone says they don't have terraforming abilities, you're going to need them to go to their menu and go to me, and they're going to need to give you that name in parentheses there so that you can give them access, or you can work with whoever's running the space. You can give them access, and then they will give them terraform abilities. They'll need to re-enter the space, which happens from title screen, main menu, settings, re-enter, and when they re-enter, they will have the ability to terraform. Alright, so what in the world does this menu do? First is environmental clipping. I tend to do this with flight on, and what happens when you turn flight on is wherever you look, you move. So you go up, you go down, you go around. So that's how you use flight, is wherever you look, you go. The opposite is true when you back up. And then when you turn on environmental clipping, you turn into a ghost, and you can move around however you want. You can get into the floor and look up. You can fly up through everything, and what this helps you do is a lot of the time it helps you get really cool photos. So if we want a photo of a bunch of people watching this, I can go over here, I can take a picture. So that is flight. So that's environmental clipping. Now, the thing you want to be really careful about is if you turn environmental clipping on, you want to also have flight on, because when you clip, you'll fall through the floor and fall endlessly, so you don't want that. So you can shut off environmental clipping, and then you're no longer going to be able to fly through the walls or the floor. And you can just kind of move around in the defined space, and then if you toggle flight off, you will come back to walking. Alright, so this next, so that's flight. I kind of showed you the two together. And then lastly, there's toggle environment. So I'm going to turn flight on because we got to be careful here. When you toggle environment, it shuts off everything that isn't part of the level. So you're going to see a couple things. We'll see a picture that I put on the wall. You're going to see the screen where we put videos. This is a great way to find people. If you can't find someone in a level, or if they're stuck, you can shut off the environment and you can find them. And then again, if you turn on environmental clipping and toggle the environment, it's a really quick way to kind of get places you need to get. But that is a hint for how to find people. Alright, so what's next? So we found people, we know how to fly, we know how to move through the walls. The next thing we're going to play with is called editor mode. And to do that, I'm going to go over to this picture I put on the wall. So I made this image for an event. Here is edit mode, and what edit mode allows me to do is anything in the level that is editable, terraformable, whatever you want to call it, will get a blue box around it. And when you select it, you're going to get these options like this is how you rotate. This is how you rotate up and down. This here, if you grab it and you back up, it gets bigger, it gets smaller. So these are your editing tools, and this is true for pictures and also for 3D assets. And so I encourage you to come in and play with this. This will also show you where there's some walls where you can't move around. So really, when you turn on edit mode, it's going to give you a great idea of the environment you're working in. You can see who designed this space, put these bars around so that nobody's getting in here messing with stuff. And it helps you clearly see the environment and where you're supposed to be. And so that is the edit tool. Now, when you are in edit mode, you get access to something that's incredibly powerful, and that is your editor panel. Now, this is something that I really encourage you to play with. So let's just start with this. You can go to skyboxes, and if you want to switch the skybox, you can click this, and it'll turn the skybox in the level something else. I can turn it to night, or this like, crazy sunset. I have all kinds of options here. I can make it a clear sunny day if I wanted. I can even make it a nebula. So what this panel does is it kind of gives you access to the really powerful tools in alt space. Now, there's also fun things like kits. These are kits that people put in of 3D assets. Let's see what campfire. So, for example, all of these things are accessible for you to drop into the world. So if you want to drop, say, this rock, click it once. Give the system a little bit of time to load it. If you click it 5 times, you're going to get 5 rocks. Now, just like I said before, there's the box. I'm able to move, click on the box. I'm able to move this around, walk around. Let's say I want to set it on the ground. I'll try and, put it down as close to the ground as I can get it. I can make it bigger, keep moving it down. There you go. Now I got a rock. Okay. So with any item that I drop in the world in editor mode, it's going to have this box around it when I'm working on it. So you'll see I can switch over to this, or I can switch over to this. When I do that, when I go back to my editor panel, that'll be the thing that is highlighted. This is powerful because if you put something on the ground or on the wall you don't like, it's very easy to get rid of. You just simply delete it. Now you can see if you really don't want anybody to mess with it, you can put a lock on it. But I like to leave things wide open for people. And so this is your editor panel. It is very powerful if you're helping someone decorate a space. You can have kits, which are fun little items that you can play with. There's animals, there's event tools. We do lots of events, so these are powerful. And then lastly, as I've shown in another tutorial, this is a wonderful place for you to get your photos that you've taken in AltSpace. So if you're running around with the menu tool and taking some photos, this is one I took. You now have the ability, with this terraforming ability, to share this with everybody in AltSpace. I'm going to put it up here just for fun, just to show you guys. And again, terraforming, pretty easy. Move this around and move it around. And then when I'm done, that looks weird. I don't like this anymore. Click on here, get rid of it. And then lastly, what's cool is if we have something and once we're done, and we don't want people to be messing around with it, you just simply shut off the edit mode, and now that is something in the world that sits and lives. So that is terraforming.